Hello, my name's Jim Stime. I'm the LA Fish Guide. This is part 3 of repairing that big 250-gallon in-wall tank. We have a large tank that's been in this position for the last 14 years. I've been very fortunate in the fact that it's been me who's been able to be here servicing that tank every week for the last 14 years. We need to make a repair on the tank because what's happening is the bow in the tank, due to the pressure, is causing the top panel and the front panel to slowly begin to separate. Unfortunately, because of this really nice cabinetry that doesn't come off, we can't get to that horizontal area where the separation is occurring. What I want to do is introduce some glue in there to try to hold it a little bit longer as opposed to letting it continue to separate and potentially having a catastrophic failure of the tank, losing all of its water as well as the service account. So what I'm going to do is climb on top of the tank, and just like those miners down in Chile, I'm going to drill a hole through the top panel into where it meets the front panel, where it's actually separating. And with a little applicator needle, I'm going to try to introduce some solvent down inside there to try to get those two pieces to reconnect back together. So without goofing around any longer, let's get to work. And just like the backside that we use to access the tank for service, we're going to go ahead and remove the wooden panels off the front side as well.
These door panels use what's called tot locks. They're magnetic latches that, with the simple use of a magnetic knob on the outside, you can trip the latch on the inside, allowing the panel to release from its holds. We're trying to give ourselves as much access to the top of the tank as possible.
So we've got our drill here. We've selected the smallest bit possible, as long as it's big enough to accept the applicator needle for the solvent. And I think what we're going to do, this separation is about 24 inches long, and I'm going to start with one hole first, kind of dead center, and then we'll apply the solvent and see how far out it spreads. This isn't anything I'd really recommend that you do at home. Aside from having a cabinet maker come in and peel the cabinetry off and possibly hiring a tank manufacturer or someone who repairs big tanks, there really is no other alternative. And since I'm the guy who's servicing the tank and want to continue to service the tank, it behooves me to attempt to fix it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this first hole, and hopefully it doesn't cause the tank to crack, separate, or anything like that.
One of the first things to know when drilling with acrylic material is never stop the drill bit while you're still in the acrylic material. It will solidify very quickly and you'll find yourself stuck inside the acrylic material. Looks like those acrylic shavings solidify quickly and require us to re-drill the hole once again.
Not sure if you can see that. I'm having a hard time seeing it as well.
there's our little hole.
So now that we've drilled the hole down through the top panel into the front panel, passing through the separation section there, it's our belief that if we introduce a agent, a glue of some sorts, down inside there, it'll spread out on that top panel. So what are we going to use?
So typically I would use some weld-on cement, but I think it's a little too thick to try to get inside that little hole. So I've got myself this nifty little applicator needle. And even though they don't offer this anymore, this is a bottle of some type of solvent. I might say MEK, methyl ethyl ketone, but that's pretty strong stuff. So this is probably a weak version of that. And again, the advantage of this type of solvent is its what I'll call sneaky capillary ability, meaning it'll go in very narrow spots. And so what we need to do is take out our applicator needle, and pour in some of this solution into here. But first I want to take and go up there and see if that little applicator needle will actually fit down inside that hole.
Okay. There's our hole right there that we're going down inside of. As you drill the hole in there, a lot of that plastic kind of melts inside there and the shavings don't all come out. So we had to kind of drill it out a second time. We'll try this again, and we're going to squirt some in there and see what it does.
Now, as a precaution, we have taped a towel on the outside of the tank, the front side, so that if some of that solvent comes running out, which again, it's very runny, or as I've used the word, has great capillary abilities. If it comes running out, we don't want it to run down the face of the tank because it'll probably etch the tank. So we've attached this towel here to try to catch anything that might sneak out the front. So here we have our solvent and our little applicator. I'm going to do this over the sink because I don't know what it'll do if we spill some of this stuff.
Whenever using any exotic chemicals, it's best to come prepared with eye as well as hand or skin protection. You can see I didn't come very well prepared.
And make sure to put that cap on real tight because this stuff likes to evaporate real quick like. And we'll go ahead and put our needle on there. We're ready to apply it.
And as always, take a moment to clean up the work area. We're also going to take a moment and examine the aquarium to make sure that none of that solvent could actually spill or enter into the aquarium. That would be quite devastating for things such as this banana or golden eel.
So here we're going to make a test run and we're going to see what happens.
Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that, or at least that darker area. That's where the solvent has gone in at. Well, it didn't spread out real far, that's for sure.
Take a look just to make sure that it's not, no oil slick is in the top of the tank. Don't see anything. No oil slick.
Yeah, I think we have to drill a few more holes because it didn't really spread out that far, but it did do what we're trying to do, and that is to try to melt those two pieces back together. So we'll drill a couple more holes, we'll add some more, and we'll see if we can fill that up.
Join me for part 4 as we try drilling a few more holes through the top of the tank, and each time risk cracking the top of the tank, and see if ultimately this does help us resolve our tank disassembling problem.